I would say the biggest message would be just to continue to support each other. And a lot of people do, get down about it or get depressed or whatever, but you want to continue to reach out to others and make sure that they're okay, and as far as the musician part of it, yeah, I mean, a lot of times when you're playing in bands, those musicians become your family too. So you want to make sure you got support. Um,
Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. And joining me today, another fellow out of the West Coast, Richard West. How you doing, buddy?
hey, what's up?
Rich Raw Dog Drums, right? That's your
That's
YouTube name?
correct. Yes, that's correct.
That's sweet. How you doing, brother?
Good. All good out here in the West Coast.
That's good. Which state are you in? Because I thought I saw in your profile pic it had the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, no, that's actually the Tacoma Narrows Bridge.
Hmm.
That goes from Tacoma to the Kitsap Peninsula.
Oh, I see.
So,
I think I might have got yours mixed up. Sorry. That's right. But I did see a bridge, nonetheless. I'm
yeah,
glad I
you're
checked out your
right. You
picture.
did see a bridge, but that's what it was in Tacoma. Yep.
Yeah, sweet. And actually, first time I found out about you, you were doing a drum collaboration with Drumman 190. It was a Warning. That's right. It was Green Day's Warning.
Oh yeah. Green Day's Warning. Yeah, I've been with actually, Drum Man and I have been on YouTube a couple different times, and then of course subbed to his channel probably like 5 years ago, and he did to mine as well. So just following for a long time. He's a long time supporter and great dude.
That's sweet. And good to hear that you guys still stuck around after all these years, too.
Oh yeah, yep.
So welcome to my podcast and everything. So I just have some questions here for you. Just like to kind
Sure.
of share your story and get to know you a little bit more. So you ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So let's start with the first one. Tell us a little bit about yourself, particularly your drumming history.
Okay. Well, my drumming history goes back to the suburbs of Cincinnati, Ohio. I grew up in Fairfield, Ohio. And really skateboarding and MTV drove me to drumming. And I'll tell you about that. So we'd be skateboarding, my friends after school or whatever, riding ramps, listening to Van Halen and Black Sabbath and all the Iron Maiden, Priest and all that stuff. And then we go watch MTV and stuff. And it's never been to a concert before, but seeing that stuff live and seeing the drummers was just like put me in awe. I had a guitar that I never really played. And so drummer came over to my house and I said, let's jam. And so he comes over and he would leave his drum set at my house. So after school, I just tinker on his drums. I probably was like 15, 16 at the time. I just tinker around his drums and realized I like drumming better. I like playing drums a lot better than guitar. So I switched to drums. And then I practiced a lot. I worked a part-time job and then ended up buying my first kit, which was a used Rogers kit. And I think back then with everything, cymbals and all, it was maybe $300, back in the 80s and stuff. But so got together with friends, some of my skateboard friends and schoolmates, and we tried to get a band together, and we thought had all this attitude and stuff. We tried to play Maiden covers and Black Sabbath covers, but we just sucked, and we had no singer, So, it just ended up being that way. And my younger brother started getting better on guitar. He's 3 years younger than me. And then next thing I know, he's bringing his friends over after school and they're jamming in the basement of my parents' house. And so I go down there and say, what's going on? They're like, we don't have a drummer. And I'm like, I don't even like the music you guys play. They were playing like, the Beatles and the Beach Boys and, the Rolling Stones and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not into that stuff, man. I like metal and punk rock. So they're like, well, you can sit in and play. Yeah, so, but you know what though? I learned to appreciate that music after you're playing it. All those, legendary drummers like Ringo Starr and, Charlie Watts and stuff. You learn, wow, it seems simple, but they're playing some cool beats, right? So anyway, we got pretty good actually. And we played parties and we had parties in my parents' basement without them knowing about it, right? Until a cops came and that kind of stuff. probably a year and a half went by, and I decided I was going to join the Air Force after I left high school. And then right before I went into basic training, I got married. Yeah, high school sweetheart. And our band actually played at the wedding. So that was kind of interesting. So after that, I got my first assignment. I got stationed at Fort Worth, Texas, right? And I had my drum shipped down there from Ohio. And after living in apartments for a couple of years, I ended up renting a house. And that way I could set up my drums and practice more and stuff. And then I go to your local music store like you did back then. You see these flyers, you know, because this is before the internet, of course. Metal band looking for drummer. And it was one of those, if you can imagine, those flyers where you pull off the phone number on the perforated edge. And then, you know, so here I am showing up with a military haircut, right? Because I was in the Air Force. And these guys looked like the stereotypical 80s glam rockers, you know, and they looked at me, so you can imagine they're like, who in the hell is this guy, you know? And he's like, you got our set list, right, that I told you about? Yeah. So we jammed, and I knew every song on their set list, and they were like, wow. So that was really cool. And so we ended up getting together and playing a few shows and in the Dallas Fort Worth area. I stayed together with that band for about two and a half years. And what band, Brian, was very popular in the late 80s that's from Texas?
Pantera.
Exactly. So got to see Pantera damn near every other weekend, right? Just playing at bars and stuff. And then dream come true. I mean, even though they were just like a good bar band back then, right? We get asked to open for Pantera. So we were like, you know, pissing our pants practically, right? So, yeah. So we're like, wow. And people don't believe me to this day, but, you know, I did sit down behind Vinnie Paul's drum set and played it. And his drum tech, I never forget, because, you know, even though they were a bar band, they were still pretty big. And they had their guitar tech for Dime and drum tech for Vinnie. And he said, don't touch anything. Don't move anything. Bring your own cymbals. And don't mess up Vinnie's kit. I'm like, all right, cool. So that was awesome. And just getting to be there, you know, you think back, you know, and it was like, that was no big deal. But now you look at, you know, their career and everything, you're like, wow, that was pretty damn awesome. So anyway, that was all well and good, but being in the Air Force, and I was the only one in the band that had a wife and a kid. I think my daughter was probably like 2, maybe 3 then. You know, I kind of knew it wasn't going to work out for long term or anything. So yeah, definitely put a strain on the marriage and the band situation. But being in the military, I had an assignment to go overseas to Germany, and then I played like one farewell show with those guys, and I still keep in touch with all of them to this day. You know, it's good stuff. So, yep. So let me take a drink.
Yeah. I guess, when did you eventually move out to California?
To California? I moved to California in 2009, but yeah, I went, like I said, I went to Germany, started getting into grunge and alternative scene of the 90s. And, you know, I ended up getting divorced over there. I went to New Jersey and then Korea and Washington State, where I met my wife, and we're still married to this day. And then we went to Germany again together, and then to California. And that whole time, since Texas, I never sat behind a drum kit. I never started playing drums again because they were either in storage or I had no place to set them up or whatever. But it wasn't until I did get to California, 2012, is when I started picking up drums again, you know, and got a new kit, Thomas Silver Stars, and started getting back into that. Played like a party band and played like an outdoor show one time. That was pretty fun. And so then in 2014, I retired from the United States Air Force and moved back up here to Washington State, and started my YouTube channel in 2016.
And been rolling with it ever since.
Yeah, definitely been rolling with it. I played in a few bands, you know, here and there over the past 6 years. Grim statistic. We played in the Seattle area, we played Portland, we played Idaho, we played all over the place. We made an EP. We thought we were a big deal. We played and it was great. And during that time I was in Grim statistic, I made all these other connections. People saying, "Hey, Rich, you want to come and jam with us just for one show, like a one-off?" And that's something that's popular up here. I don't know if you have anything like that from where you are, but in the Seattle area, it's just like you sign up to play a song and then they call your name and you go up and play. No practice together or whatsoever. And that's really fun because all the local musicians get together and just go and just have a good night out and have fun. And but also tribute bands. You get together for a tribute band, you may have one practice before a show. So I mean, I played in Green Day tribute band, Pixies, Weezer, even a Van Halen tribute band. It's all fun.
Man, that is quite an extensive story too. And I was trying to think of all the different kind of questions I wanted to ask because, man, you had quite an extensive list in there. So I always like to say Pantera's like, because Rex Brown, he was from Texas too, right? Or was he from Louisiana?
Yes. No, Phil's from New Orleans. The rest
I know
of the
Phil
band
was.
is Phil's from New Orleans. The rest of the band's from Texas. Rex and Vinnie were high school classmates.
Yeah, I do remember seeing the interview with Vinnie Paul, rest in peace, buddy. And I think he talked about how he and Rex, they used to be in that little business. It was like, what was it? I think it was one of those photo machines. You went in and you went to get your picture taken and all that stuff, and you just messed around with like the photo reels afterwards.
Oh yeah,
because it was all film. It wasn't like these days where you just made it all digital. It was actual film. So
it was actually film. Yeah,
it was that too, and he was a great guy too. And I guess did the drum tech have to throw you off after you played on his set?
Yeah. So I'm sure they did that with every band that opened or played Vinnie's set kit. But yeah.
I was gonna say it's probably like Cave of Wonders kind of shit going on right there.
Yeah. We played metal back then, back then, I know about metal, the big four of thrash. We played a couple Slayer covers. We played, the Bay Area thrash scene was pretty big. So we played Exodus song. We played the Testament. And we like punk rock too. So we played the Misfits. We played Suicidal Tendencies covers. And we also had a couple of originals too back then.
Oh, man. You did it all. You're a true metalhead, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was fun, yeah.
That's sweet. What else? I was trying to pull out any other questions I was thinking of. So I guess what were you mainly doing in the Air Force? Were you just kind of like a mechanic or something?
No, I was not a mechanic. Air transportation is my career field, air transportation logistics. So if you can imagine, like at an airport, we're the guys that load the cargo and baggage and stuff on the aircraft. So I did that I did a career in the Air Force, and now I can't get rid of it. They can't get rid of me. So now I'm a civilian employee for the Air Force, kind of doing the same thing just on a roll. I don't have to go deploy anywhere, just on kind of like a civilian role.
You're able to at least stay in the States. You don't have to go back to...
Yeah, stay right where I'm at. Right.
You don't have to go back to Rammstein and just do all that stuff all over again. Is that where they sent you?
Oh yeah, I was at Rammstein for 4 years. Great assignment. Europe is great. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely too. And I've been there a couple of times, obviously before the pandemic, and now I kind of wish to go back if they ever let us back in, especially now with all the hoopla happening there now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. What part of Europe did you go to?
I've been to a couple areas. The farthest east I've been in Europe was Hungary. I was in Budapest. And
yeah.
Me and my parents, we had gone along the Danube River. So we've been to Vienna. There was Linz. I've been to Dürnstein. I've been to Salzburg twice. Then Passau. And then ended up in Regensburg briefly, but then we took a bus to Munich, which I've been to twice. So I've been to the Hofbräuhaus in Munich twice.
Yes, that's a cool place. I've never been. I never went during Oktoberfest. It's just madness, but yeah, it's just a cool place to be.
Oh, I imagine, but I'll tell you what, in Munich, that was the best beer I ever drank in my life.
Yeah,
I'll put and it's
right. I last from there.
No, I did too. Yeah, it's actually, unfortunately, it's upstairs in my dad's bar. So.
Oh yeah, good call.
Let's see, it was that, and then been to Paris and London.
Yeah,
That's
it
pretty
sounded like a
awesome.
good European trip.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we went all over the place. I think the only country we didn't see we wanted to see was Spain. We didn't get to make it down there, but we get to see almost every other country. And then with my job over there, I got to go to like some of the former Eastern Bloc countries, like or the former Yugoslavian countries like Slovenia, Croatia, and then I got to go Romania, and I did that with my job, not as a tourist.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
No, absolutely. Yeah, man. I do see some of the trips kind of where it takes the Danube all the way to Bucharest in Romania there. So I always thought about that. So
Yeah,
I thought that'd be interesting, but remains to be seen. So we'll wait
yeah,
patiently until the whole hoopla or whatever we want to
yeah. I
call it at
hope you
this
get a
point
chance
just
to.
go
I
over.
hope you get a chance to do that again. So
Yeah. So let's jump back into your drum set there. Is that it right back
sure.
there?
Oh yeah. So this is my Ludwig, my latest kit that I purchased. I have three kits total, but this is the latest one I bought. It's the finish is a reissue from Cheap Tricks drummer Bun E. Carlos. You heard him?
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's
actually.
one of his reissue finishes. Um, and I still can't believe I have this kit. It's awesome. It's the sturdiest and the nicest kit I've ever owned. I mean, you pick up just the hardware and it's heavy, so I know it'll last for a while. I had two Tama kits. I've always kind of loved Tama drums ever since seeing like you know Clive Burr from Iron Maiden and Stuart Copeland playing Tamas. I was like, man, and Terry Bozzio. I've always loved Tamas, but I can't afford the high end kits, honestly. The Japanese made. But I do have Tama Silver Stars, and that's what you see in most of my videos, kind of like the brown cherry wood finish, and then I also have a maple kit, which is white. All
Sweet.
Zildjian cymbals. I do have a set of Pisces that I've used off and on. I don't know if you're familiar with Earl Bennett, uh, Earl Bennett drummer, drum channel. Anyway, he kind of talked me into check out Pisces, So I checked out Pisces, and I got a set of those, like the Color Sounds, and I got a big ride, Alex Van Halen signature ride cymbal and stuff. Yeah, but mostly Zildjian.
You got it all at this point, brother. I'm actually
Yeah.
jealous. I'm jealous. Yeah. I can't help but notice your shirt, so I best let's get that out of the way. Did Eric send that to you how long
I
ago?
Yes, yes. So I do have an attic custom snare that Eric and Loretta built for me. Shout out to Eric and Loretta; they're awesome people, and what a quality product. Um, I just told them what I wanted. I said I want birch wood. You want silver. I want black hardware, and I said, can you make it something kind of Pacific Northwest? Because that's where I live now. Um, Yeah, it looks really cool. You can see it in some of my videos and a couple of pictures that I had posted. But yeah, it's just green with look like the trees in the background with eagles flying. It's really cool, and the sound is just great, just really great.
Yeah,
Um,
Eric's a cool dude, and he really helps out. He delivers on his products too. It's like whatever you want it, we'll give it to you. That's for
yep,
sure.
yes,
Safe to say he
definitely.
delivered on his promises.
Yes, that's true. It's quality. Took it to the studio. Sometimes I make my covers up in studio in Seattle, and they just record everything for me. And the guy, I said, well, I'm going to use this snare. And he hits it a couple times with a stick, and he's like, I don't need to tune this. I don't need to put gel pads on this. This is going to sound great just as it is. And we recorded 3 songs like that.
Oh man, that's so awesome.
Yeah,
So shout out to Eric. Thank you so much, brother. So,
yeah.
so I guess jumping into your YouTube channel. I was trying to remember when you said you started it, but you say you started.
2016, yes, sir.
Okay, and I guess were you just planning on just doing drum covers, or do you want to try to do something else?
At this point, yeah, I mean, I've done a couple things, as far as like documented some travels or something like that. But I had a series, and I'm still going to continue it. Drummers to check out, and not to be confused with drum man's drummers to watch. Uh, but I talked to Matt about that, and I said, hey, I'm just doing this, but I don't want to interfere with what you got going on. He's like, Rich, absolutely great. It's a great idea. Go ahead and do it. And I want to give back to the community that way too. So Yeah, I have a series called Drummers to Check Out, and I usually try to feature, drummers, drum channels that play music that I like, or and stuff like that, and usually ones that have probably like 100 subscribers or less to try to get them a little boost, with the subscribers that I have and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm trying to do too. But unfortunately, recently you saw I just broke the 100 subscriber mark, which
Yeah,
I'm still pretty happy
and
about. But
congratulations on that, because your channel is so new, Brian. But you know what I like, the interviews that I've watched that you've done. It doesn't matter if somebody has 5 subscribers or 5,000. You treat them the same, and you're just very respectful with everyone, and I like how you're paying back in this way. So that's awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
yeah, I stick by the motto: all men are created equal.
There you go. That's
For
good.
sure. And woman. We'll throw the woman in there. We got to throw the woman
Of
in there
course,
somehow.
mankind. Yes.
Mankind. That's what they should have said back then. So
Yes.
it would have saved us
Right.
so much trouble.
Yeah.
All right. But whatever. So I guess, is there anything you want to achieve with your YouTube channel? Or are you just trying to, I guess, get some recognition for what you're doing?
Yeah. I mean, I just want to continue. Hey, as long as people want to watch my videos and give me, likes and comments and positive comments and stuff, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I mean, I don't do high tech videos that often. I mean, it's a play in my practice room, unless probably like once every 2-3 months, I'll go to the studio and have that high quality, production done. But, and I try to do covers that aren't overly covered. I know a lot of people just do that, and that's fine if that's what they want to do. But that was the path that I wanted to take. I was like, well, I don't really want to play that, because there's already 5,000 covers of this song already, and what's another one, but that's just my opinion. So my goal is to go out and say, hey, this is a cool song from this genre. I'm going to cover it. And then a lot of times I'll look it up and say, wow, there's not many covers of this, and I'll just practice it and go with it.
Yeah.
And there's other
times.
times. Yeah. There's other times I'll just have a theme, I'll say female rockers of the 90s, and I'll just pick songs from there. But, there's going to be a few covers if I'm doing a theme that's, has several other drum covers done. And then the most recent series I did was one called Bands from Ohio, where I'm from. And when I started researching that, I was like, man, I did not realize there's so many bands from Ohio. Yeah. So that was my most recent. I don't know what I'm going to do next.
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised how many bands actually come out of each state, even though they weren't as big as like some of the, like the big four, for instance, so thrash metal and stuff like that. So they never really maybe achieved that, but there were still bands that came out of it.
Yeah.
So, but that's cool too, because you and me, we think so much alike. Because that's what I was thinking too. I'm thinking, like, if I just play like these popular songs or mainstream ones that probably everyone else has already done, probably got so many views. I mean, what's really going to be a difference when I post my video? And I would say it worked for some of the covers I did, but I was covering mainly like metal songs. Like most of them have been like the British death metal scene with Bolt Thrower and Napalm Death.
Dude, your Trivium cover was killer. I saw that. That was awesome.
I was actually I was listening one day because I think I just stumbled upon it. I was thinking I was like, man, I really loved this album when I was a teenager, because I used to blast on my radio and probably drove my dad crazy, because obviously never really liked the death metal style I was listening to. I don't know what it was that brought me back, because I think when I was a teenager, I only liked like the first 2 minutes, and I didn't really care for the rest of the song afterwards. And I was like, man, this song is killer. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I should have listened to this song the whole way through. But I also did because there was a powerful message in the lyrics. That one kind of talked about domestic abuse. So
yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, as you did. But I mean, your drumming was great, production was great, so it was a great cover. And I do remember that album. And I think I commented that, like Light to the Flies was my favorite song off that album.
Actually, I think that's what got me into it, because when I was driving back from my second job, the song came on the radio on the Liquid Metal Sirius XM station.
Yeah.
And when I heard it, I was thinking like, oh man, that brought back so much memories, because I used to just replay the solo section so many times because I always loved that part too.
Yeah.
And originally I was actually going to do both that song and like Light to Flies, but I screwed up so badly that I was like, this is going to take me forever just to get everything in place, since I use MIDI for my drum covers. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to do this one, and then maybe at some point we'll get like Light to Flies.
So do you have an acoustic kit?
I don't know. I've always rolled electric because my parents they don't want to deal with all the noise that the acoustic sets make. So I guess does your wife put up with all the noise that yours makes?
Here's the good thing. My wife works night shift.
Ah,
so, and so she leaves like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And, between like 5 and 6, that's my practice or jam time. Talk to the neighbors, and they're like, at first I was worried, so I put like the moving blanket type stuff on the wall because that wall is where my neighbor's house is. And it turns out he plays guitar, huge Van Halen fan. He's like, no, it's totally cool, Rich. As long as you don't play too late at night, it's fine. So far, so good. Haven't had any issues. No cops called on me or anything like that. And when my wife's out of the house, that's my jam time.
yeah. When the wife's away, we cats will play in this case.
That's right. Yep.
Not exactly worded right, but you know what I meant. So
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I guess when I saw your video, the drum collaboration you did with Drum Man, it looks like you had a lot of lights going on. You kind of, I guess, what were all those lights? Were they just those kind of spinning lights that kind of do like the disco style?
Yeah. I don't know. It is a bunch of DJ lights, and it started out with a joke. One of my subscribers one time, man, I know him in person too, and he was like, I put like 4 or 5 lights. And I think you need more. I think you need more lights. And he was being very sarcastic, but I was like, all right, jackass, I'll put more lights. And so I started just putting more lights. And now I'm trying to, make every cover a little bit different. So I can have like, okay, well, I'll use these lights on the last one. Maybe I'll try these lights on this one. So yeah, it's just a bunch of DJ lights and LED lights and stuff like that, Brian. It's nothing big.
Nothing too crazy. It's just at least the simple DJ
Nothing
lights.
Too crazy, yeah. Right, exactly. That's all it is.
Yeah. I guess I thought he was. So.
I need more cowbell. Yeah, I need more lights. Except for a couple people have told me you need a warning on there to say, hey, if you're prone to seizures, don't watch this video because there's a lot of flashing lights and stuff.
So let's see. Where are we at? What do you love most about drumming?
Okay, so I'll probably have to say in a band situation, what I love is when you get in that groove and you know that you are sounding good together. That's just such a good feeling. Whether you're practicing, rehearsing, or if you're up on the stage, that's a great part of it. I'd also say that if it's kind of like I refer it to maybe like skateboarding back when I was a teenager. Like you're practicing to learn a trick. Like you're trying to learn this one tricky part on the song or a tricky fill, and then once you get it, you're like, man, that was cool. I want to do that again. I want to now I want to do more songs where I have to practice that hard to get to that point. And just overall, I just like the sound of drums and cymbals make when I'm playing them.
Makes it sound like I'm breaking glass, as I know Joey Clark said.
Yes, like Joey breaking glass, and he was quoting Vinnie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Always love going back to Vinnie, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Do you still skateboard now, or do you just try to mess around?
I have a collection, but now nothing with a transition. I'll skate with my kids or grandkids come over. I'll skate with them on the curb or on the street or something, but nothing serious. No.
We turn the hat backwards.
Too old for that. Yeah, turn the hat backwards, and but too old for that.
Good.
Easier to break bones when you're older.
I guess now you get the hip hoppity. There we go.
Right. Yeah.
Totally rad, dude.
Exactly.
There we go. Right. I guess. Yep. What kind of skateboards did you do? And I guess what was your best trick you ever did on one?
My best trick, I would say, would be an air to axle stall. So it's when you go fly up, do a backside air, and you land on the top of the ramp on your trucks on the coping, and then you just go back in. That was probably my best trick that I could pull off.
Never were able to do the 360 or anything like that?
360, like air?
Yeah.
No. 360 on flat land, maybe. No.
The kickflip. We had to do the kickflip off the ground.
Kickflip off the ground? No, that was before my time. I was never good at kickflips.
It's always funny you mentioned about the skateboard, too, because I think back to Bam Margera and I guess all those guys that came out of Pennsylvania and everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Did they have the bowl cut haircuts?
The bowl cuts? No. Not in my day, no. Are you
No.
talking about Bam and those guys or what?
Yeah, that seems like be like the hairstyle they roll with back in their high
Yeah,
school days.
right in
Is
the
the hair
'90s.
be
Yes. Yeah.
it'd
Yeah.
be like,
So
oh shit, Richie's got a bowl cut.
yeah, no, in my we're talking '80s. So we spray painted our hair different colors, or people got buzz cuts, or I had actually had long hair, and then we just still look like freaks, skateboarders, and we're not the mainstream high school kids.
Yeah, we're different from them. We're not the kind that dresses all fancy and everything. We are the punks. I guess that was when punk rock was starting to come out too.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
when.
yeah. So yeah, I definitely was into that scene too because being into skateboarding, you read those skateboard magazines in Ohio, probably like Pennsylvania. You don't get to experience that culture. So that's all I knew was I was like, I never heard of this band, but they sound cool. Black Flag, okay, I'll go check it out. And you go get the album, and like, okay, what's this? And then you get into it, and then all your friends are like, wow, you got Black Flag? Wow, where'd you get that? So
Yeah, I know it was the same thing with me with like the death metal and all that stuff. It didn't
yeah.
click at first, but then it was like keep listening to it, and then it starts to pick up, and then well, you start expanding. You're now going after all the big shots now.
Yeah. And now, when I play my drum covers, I think punk rock is like the funnest to play, for me. Playing punk rock covers, I actually have the most fun playing
Well,
those.
it's like all those chords. It's mainly just chords. You're not really going too crazy with like guitar solos or anything. It's mostly maybe just like simple 4/4 and just like kind of moving up and down a little bit, but
And,
it's still
and,
like
and fast as hell. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. Although, there are some that are pretty intricate. Like you remember the crossover bands of the late '80s, like DRI and MOD and those bands like that. So like they were playing metal thrash, but they're also more like a punk band. So that's also what drove me to get into that kind of style as well.
yeah, I know what you mean too. Dirty Rotten Imbeciles,
Yeah, the
DRI. That's
Dirty
what it is.
Rotten Imbeciles. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it seemed like they started incorporating a lot more in the '80s. That's when people started to experiment a lot more. Like back then, it was maybe integrating keyboards and stuff like that, but it was more just a classic rock sound and a simple opener, verse, maybe a bridge into a chorus. It was a simple structure. And then in the '80s, they started changing things a little bit. So
Well, even like now, I recently last month went and saw Pennywise. You familiar with that band, Pennywise?
not really, no.
Okay,
But it sounds familiar.
punk rock band. They're semi big. They played on several tours, Vans Warped Tour, and all that. Anyway, they're like my age. The drummer, seeing him live, he's got so much energy, and I'm like, God, how is he doing that? So much energy, just nonstop. And then you go see a band like Helmet. You familiar with Helmet?
Yeah.
I went to see Helmet 2 years ago in Portland, and they played 10 songs straight without stopping. It was just like the end of the song with the crash, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, right into the next one. And I was like, for dudes that are in their 50s, that's some incredible energy, and that's great. That's what I want to keep doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see what you mean. And I kind of noticed that too when I was at a Deftones and Gojira concert. I posted it on my Facebook page, but Deftones just seemed like keep on going. There wasn't really a break between like 4 straight songs. So I'm thinking like, I'm still recording all these songs. So I'm thinking like, am I going to be able to put my phone down at this point and just enjoy the show?
Yeah.
I would say I was happy that I got like the main songs, the main big hits that they did from their albums. So I was at least very happy with that.
Yeah. Change and all that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was near the end. And I kind of wish I got the
That was probably
closer.
their last song, right?
Actually, no. Engine number 9 was.
Oh, Engine number 9. Oh, yeah, that's a good song.
You know what?
Did
At
they
that
play
point, I
7
was like,
words? Oh yeah.
I was like, I was so mentally drained afterwards, and I don't want to say my hearing was terribly bad, but it was just, I was so mentally drained because Gojira had totally dominated their show, and then Deftones came on, they were good and all, but when I think it was the song After Change, I was like, man, I am so beat now.
You started walking to the car.
Well, technically, yes, but it was technically going up the stairs and
Yeah.
kind of chilling there. I just wanted to make sure, like, okay, is it I want to make sure I get my money's worth, so I just
I
want to make sure I don't miss all the songs or anything else they're going to come out with. So let's
exactly,
just see.
Brian. I've done that many times at concerts, and I don't know if there's a progressive commercial where it talks about don't turn into your parents, and they're saying, hey, let's not talk about leaving before the game even starts. So that's what I
Yeah,
do. I'll look at the set list because they have it on setlist.com or whatever, and I'm like, okay, after this song, I'm going to start making my way to the exit so I can beat the crowd.
yeah, that's what I was doing too. So I was at least fortunate to catch the last two songs. But yes, Engine Number Nine, which I was surprised because that one was pretty heavy as hell. So
Yeah. But
I was very happy.
Gojira must have been an awesome show.
Oh yeah, it
I
was.
mean,
Oh, they killed it.
yeah,
They
I'm sure.
absolutely
I'm
killed
sure.
it.
I'm sure after that, maybe Deftones was a little bit of a letdown, right?
They were good,
Because
but
it's two
like
different styles, right? Definitely different styles.
sort of. I would say maybe a little bit more metal for Gojira, but
Yeah,
it was more the quality that Deftones was doing because it seemed like their lead singer Chino, he was more into just getting the crowd up instead of just making sure he sings the lyrics and everything. So,
oh yeah.
so I wanted a little bit of quality, but he got better, so I was at least happy about that. So
Oh,
he still
good.
put on a
Yeah,
killer show.
yeah, awesome.
All right. So anyhow, I don't think you told us about your sticks. What sort of drumsticks do you
Oh,
play?
probably for the past 4 or 5 years or so, I've been using ProMark 747s with nylon tips. They're hickory, made in Texas. I have to say, I've never broken one of these sticks. And the way I play, especially on the hi hat, I wear it down right below the nylon tip, like pencil thin, and then I know I got to get rid of them or it's gonna break. But I don't. Yeah, I never really broke one. I just get to that point where it might splinter a little bit, but it's not broken. And then I also use the stick wrap. It's like the wrap. It's like for a baseball bat, where you put the grip tape around it. So it's not for your hands. I don't care about getting calluses, but it really helps with the impact on your joints.
Hmm.
And I found, and plus it does give you a little bit better grip too, so sticks don't slip out of your hands.
I guess have you ever had those instances where you do kind of slip out of your hands, or is that if you
Oh
accidentally
yeah,
hit your cymbal?
yes, by mistake, yeah, or like coming from the low tom, try to hit the crash, and then the stick flies out of your hand. Yeah, of course, yeah,
I know. I know those are so frustrating too. I remember those feelings.
yeah.
Yeah, those ones suck. So, oh well. All right, hang on. Let me see. Where are we at? I guess COVID.
Yeah.
I guess how bad did it impact you guys? Because you've been chilling up in Washington State there for now. I guess going on 6 years now.
Since 2014, so a little bit longer than that. But
Oh, 2014. I thought
um,
2016. Sorry.
actually, Seattle area had the first known COVID case, so
No.
it got pretty bad here for a while. And like I said, I work on a military base, and then back in 2020, probably from March to June, we were not allowed to go to work. We were told to stay home, but it's not like I could telework. I couldn't do anything because we're in an industrial environment. We work around aircraft. We work in warehouses, so there's not. Yeah, we couldn't go in. Just stay home, stay safe. Uh, anyway, my wife, on the other hand, she does work at a hospital, and no matter if at a hospital, you can imagine, no matter if you're doctor, nurse, receptionist, or a technician, it's all hands on deck. With COVID, and she would tell me she would take picture selfies. She'd have to wear the full hazmat suit whenever she'd go in somebody's room and stuff like that. And so she worked her ass off, where I was just sitting at home. You know. Uh, but now, of course, what have we done? We've learned to adapt to that, right? I know our state just recently took her masks off indoors. So I think that was probably like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. We were allowed, okay, you don't not masks not required indoors anymore. But we had to deal with that for a couple of years though.
Yeah. It was kind of the same way out here too. So I guess, do you feel like it was effective?
The masks?
I guess any of the mandates or anything
Well,
that were put in
okay,
place.
so I mean, as a government employee, we were told, yeah, you have to get your vaccine. So I mean, and my wife too, because she works at a hospital. So so we got our vaccines together. So I mean, it's not going to prevent you from getting COVID, I'm told, but it doesn't. it lessens your symptoms, right? And it lessens the spread as well. So is what I've been told anyway. But as far as the mask on, I think it has worked, because not just for COVID, but I've seen more people like get colds and viruses and stuff, since we've gone away from not having masks, people that work with and stuff. So yeah, I think in some ways the masks were effective. And you probably realize if you go to other like Asian countries and stuff, I was in Korea, and they think it's rude if you're sick and you don't wear a mask. That's very, frowned upon. So I think they've been dealing with that for a while, but our American society is, hey, nobody can tell me what to do. This is America kind of thing. And we want to do what we want. So it was hard. It was a hard sell, for a lot of Americans, but yeah, I think it helped.
Yeah, it's the South Park scene where Randy's being dragged off by the cops after getting a ball at the fight at the ballpark because he was fighting with another dad and something. He's like, I thought I was in America. Oh, sorry, I thought this was America.
Thought this was America.
Yeah, so that's technically what it is at this point. So, hey, to each his own. So, best not to make any drama out of that. So, it's good to see you guys are doing well. And I guess you said they recently lifted all those restrictions and everything in your state.
Yeah, they lifted restrictions, and then we have to monitor whether the county or the region is like low, medium, or high. If it's low or medium, then masks you don't have to wear indoors. But if it goes to high, then we have to go back to wearing masks. Right now, we're still low.
Yeah, for the time being.
Until winter rolls around. Yeah. They're like, don't get rid of your masks. Don't throw them away because you may need them.
Yep. I guess, did COVID open any opportunities for you? Because some of the things, sorry, but just before.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, most people I've interviewed, they've kind of said that COVID was kind of a blessing in disguise for them because they were able to go do like YouTube or something like that. And I started a YouTube channel and just was able to get some subscribers. Was that kind of how it was for you?
In some ways, yes. With the band I was playing in, that kind of put a halt to our band practice, practicing in the same room together. But what we did was later on, we had our bass player said, well, I'm just going to ask the people that we know from other bands if they just want to come to my garage and jam. So we'd go up there to his house, and he'd have the garage doors open. It'd be fall or even into the winter. And he'd tell his neighbors, hey, we're going to jam. And neighbors would be like in the driveway watching us. And we'd just be playing whatever covers that we knew together and stuff. And it was fun. But yes, I think it did drive a lot of people to go more towards the electronic route and YouTube. And if you even look at like the drummer for Incubus, his channel blew up playing his own covers. And then the Anthrax drummer, Charlie Benante, he did the same thing, but he was playing like covers of other songs. So yeah, it was like, well, yeah, that's great, I think. So I think, yeah, I know what they mean when they say blessing in disguise. But at the same time, there's nothing like playing in a live situation, right? So it had its pros and cons, I guess.
Yeah, it's more so that it gave us opportunities to try something new that maybe we wouldn't consider.
That's true. Yeah, I agree.
Because, I was pretty locked into my full-time job, and I know I was kind of locked to my full-time job, so YouTube was really just going to either be a hobby and just try something on the side, maybe at some point. But then I tried doing vlogs, eventually got to this podcast idea, so I have to say, it really helped me out, and I kind of wish it was helpful to everybody else out in the world too. But I guess nobody's treated equal whenever certain things happen. So well, out here, for the band situation, that really sucked because COVID took a toll on a lot of small businesses, which included places we used to play, clubs and stuff had to shut down because they just couldn't make any revenue. So it sucked in that aspect, but I'm glad that, a lot of people did find an outlet like you did, to be able to do something with that, make the best of the situation. So it's cool. Did they also have to close down the studios too? Was the state put NBEs, non-business essential or something like that?
Yeah, they did. Yep.
I guess that pretty much happened nationwide too. So
yeah.
Oh, well. But it looks like everybody's at least starting to get back on their feet. So here's
Yeah.
hoping.
Yeah. How many concerts were pushed back or canceled, right?
I know, and I went to two this year already, so I was like, I'm living it, man. I'm just going out there and I'm gonna live it. So that's what I was gonna do.
I think I've had tickets for Rage Against the Machine for 2 years, and they keep pushing it back. And now it's 2023 when they're coming out here next.
Oh man, I thought it'd be this year. So
Yeah.
oh well. All right. So now we reached that part of the podcast where now I give my interviewees a little bit of freedom to ask me anything, or if there's anything you'd like to get off your chest. So, have at it, Rich.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw the radio station that you posted one time or you talked about, and so it's in Pittsburgh, right?
Radio station? Did you mean like the studio?
It was a studio, I think you were mentioning, and I looked at. Are you in the Pittsburgh area?
I am. The studio manager that I had interviewed, his name was Larry.
Okay, so you're in the Pittsburgh area. So I think during football season we probably couldn't be friends because I'm a big time fan of the Cincinnati Bengals, and I know if you're born and raised or you live in Pittsburgh, you have to go for your Steelers, right?
Oh yeah, every now and again I might tease the Bengals, but I'll give you guys credit.
Yeah.
You guys finally got the QB, so I'll give you that.
And what's so crazy and ironic about that is so many friends that I've met in the military or otherwise are Steeler fans, and they're all, and of course, it's a big rivalry, but everyone I've met that is a Steeler fan is a great person, and I'm sure you're included with that too, right there. So, yeah,
well, you'd be correct, except for the 2 to 3 hours when we're watching the game. Then we're probably going to throw beer at you or something.
We're watching the game, then we'll be heckling each other and talking trash.
Right? Oh yes, that's for sure. We'd be throwing stuff at you, or maybe toss a beer on you or something like that. So,
but yeah, the only other thing I had to say, Brian, was just our drum cover community or our drumming community. I think I like it because it's not a competition. Everyone supports everyone. It's like a family. It's like a brotherhood, sisterhood. Because there's a lot of female drummers out there too that are in this community. So. And I just hope that continues, and this is stuff like what you're doing now with the featuring drummers like myself and others. This is an awesome thing that you're doing to try to help out the community and try to be part of it and keep us like the brotherhood or family. So I appreciate everything you're doing.
Sorry, but I have to say I feel bad because my mom was saying like I got all guys. I've been interviewing recently that's been all guys since the beginning, and she was asking like you need to get a girl on there or something. So I have to admit it's actually a little hard because when I was just typing in female drummers, I would say I didn't see a whole lot appear on just Facebook. Maybe I'd find a lot more doing it on YouTube. So we'll have to work our way there. But I got so many guys lined up right now. In fact, I was just reaching out and be like, hey, you want to come on? Just like come on here and just talk and everything through Skype. So I'm like, and some people were like, yeah, we'll do. Some don't respond. And like, I was able to even find out about a recent band I found out. So I was pretty happy to find that out. So, I mean, I love this. So, and I love talking to people like you because it breaks down my barriers because I've realized after the pandemic, I became more introverted than I was pre-pandemic. So now I'm like, I gotta figure out how to do this, otherwise I'm gonna lose my talking skills and everything. So
no, you're great at it. You're doing great.
Thank you so much, and also thanks for coming on too.
Yeah.
So I guess, did you have anything else before we jump to the last question?
Well, you were going to ask me about favorite bands.
Oh yeah, that. That's true. Yes. So I guess have at it because I'm assuming it's an extensive list.
Yeah. So I'll break it down by genre, okay? Hard rock band, Van Halen, number one. Metal, I'd say Judas Priest, tied with Pantera. Alternative rock, the Afghan Wigs, Cincinnati, Ohio band. Punk rock, Bad Religion, kind of tied with NoFX. And then that's about it. I can't think of anything else.
Well, I was going to say, where do you lump Trivium? Would you say death metal?
Trivium, yeah, they're definitely metal. I mean, they're not, the vocals are not really a death metal, I wouldn't say. I would say they're more thrash, would you?
I think at the beginning they did a lot more of the growls, the screaming and stuff like that. I know
Yeah.
it was with Ember 2 Inferno and then Ascendancy that the songs that I was playing. But
Yeah.
I think it was after the Ascendancy that's when they toned it down. They became a little bit thrash, but
Yeah.
then they
I saw him live in Germany, probably 2009. I think maybe it was with the Shogun album or something like that they were touring on. Yeah, so it was all kind of bands. It was like Trivium, Seven Dust, Corn. It was Slipknot was the headliner. It was tons of bands playing. Yeah,
oh man, that would have been so
it was
killer.
out. It was an outdoor fest. It was like 3 days
Was that
long.
Knotfest?
No, it's not Fest. It's called Rock Am Ring.
Hmm.
Check it out. It's called Knock Am Ring. It's in Nuremberg, Germany.
Oh, okay. So I guess anything else? I guess any other favorites you want to throw out there? I want to make sure we don't miss anything before we jump to the last
No,
question.
no. I mean, favorite drummers are kind of the same. With the grew up with watching MTV and seeing those drummers like Clive Burr from Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills and New Wave Ridge Metal and all that kind of stuff, and Dave Lombardo and punk rock drummers like Smelly from NoFX and Trey Cool from Green Day. So those are some of my favorite drummers.
Those are also your big influencers too.
My big, yeah, those, and just all the bands I watched early on in the MTV days. U2 and Larry Mullen Jr., solid drummer, man. Devo's drummer, Alan Myers. I don't know if you like Devo at all, but you ever heard the song "Whip It"? Try to
Oh yeah,
play it. It's hard. It's hard to play that. I mean, it's super fast on the hi hat.
yeah, I know.
And then, of course, Vinnie Paul and Nick Menza. Rest in peace of both of them.
Yeah, I remember bringing up Nick Menza with Andy too because he had. I was trying. Oh fuck! I just said the name and then I lost it too. You mentioned a different drummer for Megadeth. I think it was was it Gus Samuelson was his name?
Gar Samuelson, the original
Gar
drummer. Yeah,
Samuelson.
yeah, he passed
Okay.
away too.
Hmm. Yeah,
They
that's
played on their
unfortunate, too.
first two albums, I think. Yeah.
I'm always trying to remember which ones were the first two because the two that I really loved from Megadeth were obviously Rust in Peace and Peace Sells.
Yes, Peace Cells was their second album. Yeah.
Killing is my business. That's right. Yeah, Killing was my
Killing.
business.
Yep.
That's right,
Yep.
that was the first one.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Would you have like a favorite thrash metal band out of the big four?
Slayer.
Slayer.
Seeing their final tour, even though they didn't have Dave Lombardo in the mix, and of course Jeff Hanneman had passed away. I realized, man, these guys are legends. Because it was. I don't know if you heard about that tour, but it was Lamb of God, it was Testament, it was Anthrax, and then Slayer, and it's like why they were like the kings of thrash.
Hmm. I'm always trying to figure out like because I always thought like Metallica gets more of the name recognition, maybe because Slayer's was more darker and stuff, so people didn't really necessarily like that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I take nothing away from Metallica. I mean, people can talk about Lars or whatever, but he's a phenomenal drummer. And I don't know if you ever try to play a cover that he's done, but it's hard to emulate what he does because he's so different of a drummer. But yeah, Metallica Master of Puppets album was just killer, and then all that stuff. Ride the Lightning.
Oh, for me, it was Ride the Lightning.
You Ride the Lightning was an awesome album too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love playing Creeping Death.
Do you know the song? I think there's one song off the album, maybe there's more, but that they will never play live. They said James and Lars said they'll never play that song, Escape.
Really?
And I guess they got requests to play it, and they tried to play it one time, and they we don't want to play that song. We forgot it anyway.
Yeah, we were too wasted to remember. We just remember to analyze the big main songs that we play.
If you listen to it, it's a lot different than the rest of the album, Maybe that's why they didn't want to play it. I don't know.
I guess so. And I guess I always call them the other four, which is the Testament, Exodus, Overkill, and Death Angel.
Death Angel.
Which ones do you like out of
that? I like Exodus and Death Angel as well. I think Death Angel, they were teenagers when they started, right? When they came out with their first album, The Ultra Violence, I think the youngest one was 15. And they were already signed to a record label. They were just phenomenal. So I've seen Testament like 3 times, so I'm a big fan of them. Chuck and all them guys. When they had Gene Hoglan as a drummer, you know who he is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so And now they got, guess who? Dave
Dave
Lombardo is on this
Lombardo.
tour. He's on this tour with them. So, and they unfortunately made it out here, and I forgot about it. They played here like last week.
Mm.
Yeah, I missed it.
You know what? Their show in Pittsburgh was actually the same week that Gojira and Deftones were too. And the thing that I actually hated about it was they didn't say like who else was there. If I had known that Exodus and Death Angel were going to be involved,
Yeah,
I would have definitely gone.
yeah.
But they also had the Megadeth, and I think it was In Flames and Lamb of God at the Peterson, which is where the concert was held at.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of good shows, but I think I know Deftones and Gojira, so I think I want to go to that, and I want to at least see those guys. And I think like I'm probably going to go Def, because if I'm doing heavy metal the one night and then doing another heavy metal on Wednesday, so I wasn't sure, but I kind of wish now I did. So maybe it would have been something worth it. So obviously during the work week, so maybe it would have been a little bit tricky.
Yeah, tough doing those shows during the work week. I know.
Yeah. Oh well. So we wish them best of luck going forward. So, all right, you ready for the last question, or is there anything else you want to throw in?
Yes, go for it.
All right. So, considering what COVID has done in the world today, so obviously we as musicians, maybe we were able to adapt and overcome, maybe some not so much. The main thing I always like to ask my interviewees is, what sort of message of hope can you give to musicians out there who are either struggling or trying to get back to normalcy?
I would say the biggest message would be just to continue to support each other. And a lot of people do, get down about it or get depressed or whatever, but you want to continue to reach out to others and make sure that they're okay, and as far as the musician part of it, yeah, I mean, a lot of times when you're playing in bands, those musicians become your family too. So you want to make sure you got support. Over the past 10 years, I've probably lost too many friends and family. So I think the important thing, whether it is just to reach out and make sure everyone's okay. And try, even though I'm geographically separated from a lot of my family and friends, I still want to try to make a point this year to go and see them, or even the ones that are here. You know how it is when you're like, nah, man, we'll get together next weekend, and you never do, and you never know what's going to happen. So I would say, especially that is to support each other. And when you have a chance to do something, go try it, go do it.
Yeah. I guess, would you ever consider maybe moving back to Ohio? Because I know that was where you grew up and everything. And since you're still a big Cincy fan, would you ever consider moving back?
Yeah, I've talked about it, but I just lived on the West Coast for too long now, and just like it out here. I visit back there as much as I can. I went there in 2021. See my family over there on that side. But my wife's family is all out here, so so it makes it challenging, so to try to say, well, we're going to try to do here, do there, and we have other family live in Las Vegas, so yeah,
Vegas, baby.
Hey, Vegas, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have a better time whenever I go back and visit Ohio than I can ever remember growing up, living there. I'm like, oh, wow, I want to go to these restaurants. So that's the stuff you miss, right, from your hometown, like the restaurants that you usually go to, like you can't get out here and things like that. And of course, your sports teams. Yeah, that's the stuff I miss.
It's funny you mentioned that, too, because I think I remember an interview where Phil Anselmo was talking. He was like, God, I wish that place was still open.
Yeah. And I think he was talking about his dad's Italian restaurant. Yeah, his Italian restaurant, yeah.
That would have been so awesome because I was in New Orleans once, and if I had actually known anything about that, and I think it might have closed well before my time, before I even got a chance to go down there, because my sister had lived down there briefly.
Yeah.
I think I would have seriously gone in just for the hell of it, just to like,
I
was there.
And just taking pictures and checked in on Facebook. I was here. Right.
Yeah, it is good to see that Phil's still doing well. I guess he's touring with Down and all them guys.
Yeah, so I think it was last year, Brian, he had like a pay-per-view with, Phil Anselmo and the Illegals, and they played an entire set of Pantera songs. And I rented that, and like a couple friends of mine were chatting with each other while the show was going on, and his voice sounded good on that show, you know, because he struggled with his vocals, you know, over the years and stuff. But on that show, that particular show, he crushed it.
Yeah, I think way back when he was with Pantera, I think he was suffering mentally from all the drugs he was taking and everything, because I guess he was
Yeah.
suffering from back issues. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
well, that's actually how they came up with the song "I'm Broken," because his back was just all bent out of shape and
He's
everything. I think he
jacked.
just
Yeah,
yelled in one day.
that's true. And a
So
few of
it's
this, well, I mean, you've heard their earlier albums like Cemetery Gates and all that. I mean, he used to sing really high.
he was like, yeah, he was doing like Rob Halford kind of
He
voices,
was,
and like
yeah,
it
he
seemed like
could.
he lost it when what was it, Strength Beyond Strength came next.
Um, yeah, well, Vulgar Display of Power was after that,
That's right.
um, yeah, he didn't really have any high notes on that that album either. So I think he just kind of, I think what they did was it wasn't necessarily his vocals, but I think they more so wanted a harder edge and kind of get away from that glam style. But what they used to do, and back to Pantera stories again, because I know you're probably interested.
Oh yeah, go
they
ahead,
would
knock yourself
do,
out.
they would come out and they're a bar band, mind you, and they would come out and play a 45-minute set of originals, and then they'd take a break, and Dimebag would go around, let's do a shot, let's do a shot, let's do a shot. But of course, he wanted you to pay, you know. They'd go around everybody's table and do a shot with everybody, and it was funny. And then when they go back on stage, they did 45 minutes of covers. And Phil used to do Judas Priest to a T, sing it
Mm.
perfect. Yep.
I think I could believe it too. Yeah, because I think how he that's how he rolled back in the day. And I think he even told a funny story that he took maybe these pills to kind of help with his digestion or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he tried those one high Rob Halford kind of pitch sounds, and he ended up shitting orange or something. So he has to go out there and change. Uh, it was one of those funny stories. It was one of those more short stories that Loudwire kind of showed.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those, yeah.
So I forget how the whole story goes, but it was kind of along those lines. 'Cause I guess he was kind of miserable and depressed and everything. And I guess he just needed something to help with fiber or whatever it was, and
Yeah.
it just did one big screeching Rob Halford kind of noise, and he shits orange all in the back of his pants. Oh my
Wow.
gosh! Hey, that's what happens too. Don't abuse drugs, kids. That's what we
That's
gotta
right.
say.
That's right.
All right. So I guess before we wrap up, in your neck of the woods, are you close to any big cities like Olympia, Seattle, or anything?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Seattle. I mean, Tacoma is the third largest city in the state, and we're a 45-minute drive to Seattle. So, yeah, I'm in the Seattle area. Yeah.
What do you recommend for tourists who want to go out there?
See the mountains, see the nature scenes, you know. And I know you know what happened a couple years ago with the Seattle and the bad thing that happened in the city was the chop and taking over half of the police precinct. Parts of Seattle are a bad scene, probably just like a lot of you know, major cities in America. But there's still some great things to see. I mean, you got to see the Space Needle, of course. You got to see, you know, some of the, you know, grunge places, you know, like it was popular in the 90s. You know, some of those clubs are still open today, renamed. And then,
Nirvana.
yeah, Nirvana. Well, they have this thing called MOP. I forget what it stands for, but it's something with pop. Music and pop is what it stands for. But anyway, it's got like a whole section for Jimi Hendrix because he's from Seattle, you know, and it's a whole section about Nirvana and Kurt Cobain and all. And what was interesting to me was all the punk bands and stuff that he kind of grew up on and was interested in. And then, yeah, it's a really cool thing to see. But definitely see the nature part of it, the mountains, eat the good. We have excellent seafood and Asian food out here. Yeah.
That's sweet. You may want to come out there one of these days, because I know a friend of mine, or a friend of my dad's, he had moved out to Seattle too, and I guess he's been living good. Looks like it's been an honest life and everything. So
Yeah.
might like to get out there someday.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll put it on the list. So here's open.
All right.
All right. Well, Rich, we reached the end of the episode here, and we've talked for actually a good hour right now. So I guess Any last words or shout outs you want to do before we close?
No, just once again, Brian, thank you so much for having me on, and I appreciate everything you're doing. Just keep it up, keep rocking, and stay in touch.
I will. And maybe we'll get together for a collaboration or something in the future. My list is kind of packed up right now, so maybe in the near future.
You're pretty busy, yeah.
I try, but it's safe to say I kept myself busy this week, even with Memorial Day weekend and some drum covers I'm doing for next week.
Cool.
So I won't spoil it just yet, but stay tuned for those ones, folks.
All right.
So everyone, my guest today was Rich West out of Washington State. And I don't think I asked what town it was, but what town are you?
Tacoma.
You're in Tacoma.
Tacoma. Just like the
Tacoma,
truck.
Washington.
Just like the Toyota truck.
Is that a Ford or is that the...
It's Toyota.
Toyota.
That's
right,
Tacoma.
yeah, Toyota. Sorry. I get my brands mixed up. I roll with Dodge. That's all I do.
Oh, Dodge. Okay. You're a Dodge guy.
Yep.
I had a Ram once.
Did you? All right. So, good on you. We'll just say it that way. All right. So, Brian. Everyone, my guest today was Rich. And Rich, thank you again so much for coming on. So, stay safe. Stay tuned, y'all.